Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling the suspense novel, Choose Me, by Tess Gerritsen and Gary Braver. We've gathered your sources, and our mission is, well, to really get under the skin of this one. We're looking beyond just the plot to explore the drama, the psychology, and the literary stuff that makes it tick. So, the setup is this. Taryn Moore, a bright college student, dies after falling from a balcony. Initially, ruled a suicide. But looking at the sources, you immediately get this feeling there's more to it, right?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling's basically the hook. Detective Frankie Loomis shows up, and her instincts are just screaming that this neat little suicide package is wrong. The official story seems tidy, but she senses something incomplete.
Yeah.
And that tension, the official report versus her gut, that's what pulls you straight in.
Yeah, and the book doesn't wait long to prove her right. It's not just a standard mystery. It dives deep into betrayal, love gone wrong, the darkness hidden behind seemingly perfect lives. Let's start with Taryn herself. She's at the center of it all. Young, smart, talented, but the sources really stress this other side.
Exactly. Brilliant, yes. But she's also got this dark side, as they put it. There's emotional instability, a real tendency towards obsession when she doesn't get her way. She's definitely not passive. She's described as quite manipulative, actually, using her smarts and charm almost like weapons.
And then comes the big twist, the thing that flips the whole investigation on its head. The sources call it a game changer.
It really is the point of no return, it turns out. Taryn was pregnant when she died.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and that single fact just blows the suicide theory apart. Suddenly there's motive everywhere. It throws a huge spotlight on everyone close to her, especially the married professor she was involved with. The focus shifts instantly. It's not just about her tragedy anymore. It's about the fallout for him, Jack Dorian, and his wife, Maggie.
Right, so it goes from maybe a sad story to potentially a desperate cover-up. And this is where Detective Frankie Loomis really steps up. She has to navigate this minefield. What makes her tick, beyond just being a good cop?
Frankie's a great character to ground the story. She's experienced. She doesn't accept easy answers. She digs. And she's driven by this need for justice. The sources mention her own history with loss. And crucially, that she has twin daughters. That's not just like random background detail.
Okay, how does being a mother affect how she sees this case, this whole affair situation?
Well, it gives her an immediate connection, or at least an understanding, of Maggie Dorian's position, the wife who's been betrayed. Frankie's naturally skeptical of Jack Dorian professionally, of course, but her own life experience lets her kind of grasp the devastation Maggie must be feeling. She gets the forbidden fruit thing not just intellectually as a detective puzzle, but on a human level, understanding the cost of that kind of deceit to a family. It means she won't just accept his story at face value.
That makes sense. That perspective adds a lot of depth. And speaking of forbidden fruit, let's talk about Jack Dorian, the English professor, Taryn's big, fatal relationship. The sources paint him as seeing Taryn as the ultimate fantasy, right? Smart, worshipful, and completely off limits.
Jack really embodies that guy who makes selfish choices and then has to sort of justify them, even to himself. He's married to Maggie, who's this successful doctor. Her career is demanding, and maybe that leaves him feeling, neglected. Or maybe just gives him an excuse to look elsewhere for validation. He's definitely caught.
Caught between the excitement with Taryn and his life with Maggie.
Exactly. The thrill versus the obligation.
He admits the affair, so we know he's lied, he's deceived. But the book pushes harder than that, doesn't it? It makes you wonder.
It absolutely does. It keeps you on edge, asking, is he just a weak guy who made terrible choices, spiraled out of control, or is he actually, as the sources put it, capable of cold-blooded murder?
And that pregnancy news puts him right in the frame.
Right in the crosshairs. And his attempts to handle the situation, to manage it, it just seemed to make him look guiltier,
But it's not just about Jack and Taryn's toxic dynamic. The sources point out Taryn had other complicated relationships that sort of feed into the whole picture. Liam, Cody.
Yes, and they're important because they show Taryn wasn't just obsessed with Jack. They reveal more about her manipulative side. Liam's the intense ex-boyfriend, their messy breakup and his lingering feelings. Apparently that's what fuels some of her more desperate actions. She uses him.
Okay, and Cody.
Cody's supposed to be her best friend. But Cody has feelings for her too, unrequited ones, and there's professional jealousy mixed in. Cody ends up revealing quite a bit about Taryn's scheming. So these relationships show she was playing multiple angles, using people. It broadens the pool of suspects, sure, but mostly just deepens the complexity of Taryn herself. Motives everywhere.
Okay, now this is where I thought the structure got really interesting. The alternating viewpoints, Jack's story, Frankie's investigation, plus that reverse chronological thing for some parts. How does telling parts backward actually increase the suspense? Seems counterintuitive.
It's a brilliant move, actually. Very clever writing. Normally, a story goes A, then B, then C, right? You find out what happened, then maybe who did it. But by sometimes starting near the end with the consequences and working back, you see the small choices, the little compromises that led to disaster.
Ah, so you're constantly reevaluating why.
Exactly. It peels back the layers of lies and self-deception. You're not just trying to spot the killer. You're forced to confront the moral slide, how one bad step led to the next. The ambiguity itself becomes the focus, not just the final reveal.
That really shifts it from a standard thriller into something more psychological. And that literary angle isn't just structural, is it? Taryn's studying scorned women in literature. That feels very deliberate.
Oh, it's absolutely deliberate and central to the book's themes. Her thesis topic mirrors her own life and death with eerie precision. Medea, Clytemnestra. These tragic, sometimes vengeful figures from literature. The authors weave these references in constantly. It suggests Taryn sees herself in them, or maybe she's caught in the same ancient patterns of passion and destruction. Is she shaping her life based on these stories?
So it's not just a page turner, it's also kind of a critique about society, maybe, expectations of women.
I think so, yeah. It definitely examines how women are often expected to navigate love, obsession, betrayal. That phrase, the sacrifices women make for love, comes up. The book seems to question that implicitly. It adds this intellectual layer, making you wonder if Taryn's fate was sealed partly by these external pressures, these old narratives, as much as her own choices.
Hmm. And the sources link this to classic noir, not just modern stuff.
Definitely. There are echoes of those intense psychological thrillers like Body Heat or Fatal Attraction for sure. But the deeper comparison, the one that feels most apt, is to James M. Cain.
Double Indemnity, the postman always rings twice. That kind of fatalistic noir.
Exactly that. Cain's world is full of moral rot, where one bad decision traps the characters.
Yep.
They make a selfish choice, and then everything they do next is just trying and failing to cover it up. That slow tightening of the noose, that's very much the feeling you get with Jack Dorian in Choose Me. And that classic noir theme, often unsettlingly explored by Cain and others, is right there. How women pay the price when their passions threaten men. The men often try to wriggle out, leaving the woman to face the consequences.
Which makes the dual perspectives crucial, Jack's version versus Frankie's investigation.
Absolutely crucial. It stops you from fully sympathizing with Jack, even when you're inside his head, seeing his rationalizations. Frankie's there, pushing back, looking for facts, holding him accountable. You see his self-deception, but you also see the objective reality chipping away at it. It forces you, the reader, to constantly weigh the evidence, the motives. No easy answers.
So wrapping this up a bit, Choose Me sounds like a really compelling mix. It's got the twists, the suspense, the betrayal, but also these deeper layers about literature, psychology, morality.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway is how it explores obsession and consequences, and critically, how perspective shapes truth. Those multiple viewpoints aren't just a trick, they're fundamental to making you question everything. It really is a puzzler, like the sources say, leaving you thinking about accountability long after you finish it.
Okay, so we have this incredibly complex situation. Taryn's tragic death, Jack's undeniable deception, Frankie digging for the truth beneath all the lies and moral compromises. What does that leave us, the readers?
Well, here's something to think about, maybe. The book leans so heavily on that literary trope. Taryn was studying the woman paying the ultimate price for passion. So the final question might be, does the novel use that literary lens just to tell a compelling modern story? Or does it actually use it to hold the modern characters, especially someone like Jack, truly accountable in a way the old myths didn't? Does knowing the pattern, like Taryn did, offer any escape? Or does the story ultimately just reinforce that tragic cycle, albeit in a contemporary setting? It's a tough one to chew on.
That's a really provocative thought to end on. Does awareness change the outcome?
Well, thank you for helping us unpack all of that from the sources on Tess Gerritsen and Gary Braver's Choose Me.